McCallum is your guide to ancient prophecies. Next.
History is filled with astonishing predictions by seers who claim to foresee future events. Among them, the Egyptians, the prophets in the Bible, Nostradamus, Edgar Cayce. And all of these have at least one vision in common. The specter of an event yet to come that will change the world as we know it forever. The final judgment, Armageddon. What's more, the date and hour of this event has been repeatedly foretold. Ever since the earliest civilization, man has studied the past, lived in the present, and feared for the future. A future so elusive, so unknowable, that he has sought help in divining the secrets of time, often turning to the workaday prophets for hire, the fortune teller.
Their neon signs beckon in the night from the seedy quarters of town. Palm readers, psychics, fortune tellers peddling advice to the lovelorn and curious, promising the impossible, offering a peek into the future.
Oh, spirits from beyond, tell me more. For you I see romance, love, passion, many new friends. Heartbreak.
What if one could see the future? Would it be a blessing or a curse?
It is a very big burden on my life. Sometimes I feel that I can change the course of someone's life. I take that very serious.
In Hollywood, California, Tila is a psychic to the stars. To protect the privacy of her famous clients, she asked to be interviewed about her special gift of prophecy in silhouette.
The power is mostly premonitions, dreams, feelings. If I were to sit down quietly, I would see many things happening around the world. Sometimes I find that I can turn it off, and sometimes I can't.
On hundreds of occasions, Tila's special gift has saved her clients and some total strangers from disastrous.
I was walking one day on a very busy street, and I saw a lady put a baby in her car, in the car seat. At that second, I felt that that woman was going to get hurt and the baby was going to get killed. I stopped her. I told her I'm a psychic, and please don't drive home. She didn't take my word for it. She just went on her way. And as soon as she pulled out, a car came and hit her directly in the back of her car. It wasn't very serious. She didn't get hurt. She looked at me, I looked at her, and I just walked away. Recently, I had a premonition about some kind of a ride in an amusement park, and that something was going to go wrong, and that a lot of children was going to get hurt.
Soon thereafter, at the Los Angeles Children's Park, a freak derailing of a train ride nearly killed dozens of children.
It was very frightening. And at that time, I didn't know if there was more that I could have done.
But Tila's visions often portend disasters over a much larger scale.
I was sitting down very quietly one day. When I closed my eyes, I saw a large building exploding. And I felt that it's going to be in New York City. The only thing I could think of, who can I save or what can I do? I located a client of mine, and I told her to stay away from large buildings within the next few days, because based on my experience, my premonitions only went 3 days.
Within days, according to Tila, television news showed the shocking aftermath of the terrorist bombing at the World Trade Center in New York City. But this was only one of the thousands of premonitions that have haunted Tila since her childhood.
I don't know where it comes from. I honestly can't tell you. My ancestors are from Egypt, and as far as we can trace, I am the 6th generation of psychic readers. We are only the women that have the psychic ability. And now I found that my child, my little girl, has the same ability. When my ancestors were in Egypt, they would preferably read in the pyramids. Our energies flowed through the pyramid and through our bodies.
A journey back to Egypt, the land of Tila's ancestors, the land of the pharaohs, will reveal what may be this world's most profound prophecy. Embodied in the Great Pyramid is what is purported to be a roadmap of the future that leads to a cataclysmic event at the end of this century. Rising from the desert sands of Egypt, the Great Pyramid bears silent witness to civilizations that have flowered and decayed. More than a mausoleum, it may guard the secrets of time. Author E. Raymond Capt.
It's not a pagan temple or a tomb of a pharaoh whose body never has been found. The pyramid definitely has a message for mankind. The Great Pyramid was built about 2623 BC during the reign of Khufu, second king of the 4th Egyptian dynasty. The builders came from Arabia, and they built several practice pyramids, training a workforce before they even started building the Great Pyramid. And when the Great Pyramid was built and finished, these builders left.
The monument they built may have been created for the living and not the dead.
The Great Pyramid was built disguised as a tomb. Khufu died 7.5 years after the pyramid was built, and he never intended that to be his tomb. One of the puzzling aspects of the Great Pyramid was there were no hieroglyphics found in the passage walls or ceiling or the sarcophagus. In this respect, the Great Pyramid is silent.
Silent, but not without a message. Some scholars believe encoded into the very structure of the pyramid may be mathematical and scientific knowledge of unbelievable precision that was unknown to the ancient Egyptians.
We find in the pyramid scientific features we never dreamed men had any knowledge whatsoever of in that earlier time, in 2623 BC. One of the amazing features of the Great Pyramid is it's built on a pi ratio. We know the Egyptians didn't have that information, and yet it's there.
Even more inconceivable, embedded within the pyramid's interior passageways and chambers may be a timeline foretelling the future. Author Richard Noon.
The ancient astronomer, stonemasons that constructed the Great Pyramid, incorporated within the structure etched in stone, a 6,000-year calendar.
Embodied in the design of the pyramid, we find three very significant dates. One of them is the birth of Christ, 1,000 years before the Bible is written, 2,000 years before Christ was even born. The pyramid is the prophecy in stone.
The secret to deciphering the Great Pyramid's prophetic calendar may lie in a simple equation. 1 inch equals 1 year.
If you start from the outside the pyramid, 2623 BC, when it was built, and start measuring forward in the passage system, allowing each inch to represent 1 year, you come to 1453 BC, when the first ascending passage starts going up. That's the date that the law was given on Mount Sinai to Moses.
Going up the calendar line a little bit further, we reach the birth of Christ. 33 1/3 inches later, we have the crucifixion. And then the whole passageway changes into a glorious architectural feat called the Grand Gallery. Then we move up, and according to the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, we enter 2 periods of tribulation. Those dates were World War I, World War II, right on the money.
Ominously, the passage rapidly leads to a room called the King's Chamber and a dead end. Some investigators fear this termination may portend the end of time.
The calendar in stone in the Great Pyramid ends on the year 55-2000. So it's certainly the ultimate disaster.
However, the Great Pyramid offers an alternate route, or stone calendar, that descends on a straight line into a subterranean chamber. If the equation holds that 1 inch equals 1 year, the year 2000 may also align with a gaping pit in the floor of the underground chamber. The prophecy of the Great Pyramid allegedly warns that the coming millennium may usher in the end time. This same prophecy reappears in the writings of 2 men who lived in Europe during the Middle Ages. One was known as the king among prophets, and the other became a saint. Over 800 years ago in Ireland lived a bishop, a healer, a seer through time, a prophet who claimed to predict the day and hour his life would end. His name was St. Malachi. His legacy? One remarkable prophecy reaching almost 1,000 years into the future. It came to him in a vision while on a pilgrimage to the holy city of the Vatican. Author John Hogue interprets Malachi's prophecy.
Upon seeing the holy city, he fell into an ecstatic trance and in short 3-word phrases predicted all the popes that would rule unto doomsday.
Malachi's prophecy, a coded list foretelling the next 112 popes, remained lost for ages inside Vatican archives. Author Dolores Cannon offers a theory.
It was many centuries later before the prophecies came to light and were brought to the public. And as they have examined them, they have all come true up to the present time.
According to some researchers, Malachi's prophecies contain an ominous warning that may come to pass in our time.
This Irish saint tells us that we only have 2 more popes after John Paul II.
2 more popes, and Malachi's list reportedly ends. About the final pope and the end of the Holy Roman Church, Malachi writes, "The city of 7 hills shall be utterly destroyed, and the awful judge will judge the people." It's been said that St. Malachi's prophecy names this last pope as the one who shall bear witness to the destruction of Rome. If Malachi is correct, his name will be Peter the Roman, the very same name given to the first pope to sit in the Vatican. 300 years after Malachi, the name Peter Romanus, or Peter the Roman, was again heralded as the final pope to perish in a terrible future time. This second warning came from a man known as the king amongst prophets, Michel de Nostradame. Michel de Nostradame was born almost 500 years ago in 1503 in Provence in the south of France. In time, it was he who would be widely described as the king amongst prophets. Nostradamus predicted what has been interpreted as the rise of Napoleon and Hitler, also the coming of the Second and Third World Wars. He may have foreseen submarines and spacecraft centuries before their arrival. In his day, the Black Plague was ravaging the land, killing all who crossed its path. Surrounded by the squalor of 16th century Europe, Nostradamus first achieved fame not as a prophet, but as a healer.
Nostradamus tells the story of entering a plague-ridden town. He came upon a woman affected by the plague, but still very much alive. She was sewing herself up in her own death shroud. Because she was fearful no one would be left alive in the town to do it for her. It was in just this environment that Nostradamus performed his medical miracles.
If Nostradamus had never predicted anything, he would be remembered as one of the great healers of the 16th century.
Tragically, Nostradamus found himself suddenly powerless when the Black Death struck his wife and child. Devastated, he wandered throughout Europe before finally remarrying and settling in Salon, France. It was here that he made some of his most amazing predictions.
Nostradamus had a very special room in his house that he used exclusively for his prophecies. It was cold and damp, dark, made entirely of stone. And there on a large wooden table, he used various looking-in devices. He had the best results with a special black mirror. He called this his doorway to the future.
What actually transpired in his study is still a mystery centuries later. Did he have visions or hear voices from beyond? Could he have traveled through time? Two facts are certain. His main inspiration came from a book, De Mysteriis Egyptorum, The Mysteries of Egyptology. And he recorded his visions of the future in the form of quatrains, which are a kind of poem.
Nostradamus wrote his quatrains in a mixture of languages, anagrams, symbolism. He devised this code because he was living during the time of the Inquisition, when the very idea of prophecy was forbidden and considered the work of the devil.
Scholars deciphering the quatrains claim they may warn of the rise of 3 antichrists and an apocalyptic final battle before the year 2000. According to some researchers, the first Antichrist was a commoner who became Emperor of France. Translated, Nostradamus gives us, "An emperor will be born near Italy. He will be found less a prince than a butcher." And Nostradamus gives him a name, Pau Ne Laron, or Napoleon Roi.
Napoleon was the first of 3 antichrists foreseen by Nostradamus. Each antichrist will take us a step closer to the final battle of Armageddon. Nostradamus had named all 3 of these antichrists. He called Napoleon Napoleon Roy. It's an anagram, a wordplay on the name Apollyon, the angel of the abyss in the book of Revelations.
Hundreds of years further into the future, some believe Nostradamus saw the rise of a second Antichrist. In one translation, he wrote of this man, "From the deepest part of Western Europe, a child will be born to poor people, who by his speech will seduce multitude." And again, the quatrains offer a name.
Adolf Hitler was Nostradamus' second Antichrist, and the quatrains surrounding him are remarkable for one thing. Nostradamus uses the word Hister not only as an obvious wordplay on Hitler's name, but Hister was also the exact ancient word for the Danube River, on the banks of which Hitler grew up. Nostradamus goes on to describe the crooked cross that would become the recognized symbol of Nazism.
Of course, Hister's legacy is that he killed 50 million people and injured about 250 million. And in fact, Nostradamus describes the great ovens of the Holocaust.
From one translation of the quatrains, Human death through flesh is burned to ashes. Also, he may have foreseen a ghastly event that ended the Second World War. Near the harbors between two cities, there will happen two scourges, the likes of which was never seen before. John Hogue continues his interpretation.
Nostradamus describes exactly what that scourge is. The two harbors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the plague doctor of the 16th century describes a pestilence within, a strange disease that kills them, kills so many people. This is radiation.
Actually, Nostradamus wrote quite a bit about the atomic bomb. In another quatrain, he referred to the explosion as the stone in the tree, the stone representing the bomb, and the tree representing our visualization of the mushroom cloud.
Atomic radiation, the bomb, electricity, radio, submarine and air travel, all of these believed to have been foretold by a man alive in the 16th century. Strangely, much of Nostradamus' prophecy centers on our time, as if his vision of the 20th century was especially clear. In one of his most vivid quatrains, he may have prophesied the untimely death of an American president when he wrote, "The great man will be struck down in the day by a thunderbolt."
The prophecies concerning the assassination of John Kennedy are among Nostradamus' greatest. Every word of the quatrains ring true. The great man will be struck down in the day by a thunderbolt. From the roof, evil will fall on the great man.
Not only did Nostradamus appear to see JFK's assassination, he is believed to have predicted a modern-day psychic would try to warn the doomed young president. This may have been prophet and psychic Jean Dixon.
The whole assassination was revealed to me as though it were a motion picture. Just 10 days before he was leaving for Texas, I said, "I'm Jean Dixon. Go to the White House and warn the president that he must not go to Texas. If he does, he will be assassinated." And then I gave her the name of the assassin, Oswald.
A reading of Nostradamus could also have reassured President Kennedy with his wish to see an American on the moon. He will come to take himself to the corner of Luna. He will be placed on alien land. Some believe Nostradamus perceived that not all such exploration would be successful. 9 will be set apart from the human flock. Their fate will be sealed at the moment of their departure. Dolores Cannon feels this refers to the Challenger disaster.
Nostradamus actually predicted the Challenger disaster, but he went even further. He predicted that this would be the turning point in NASA's career.
Nostradamus also prophesied what until recently would have been unthinkable, a prediction that has been interpreted as an alliance between the United States and the former Soviet Union. He wrote, "The Great Wall in the East will fall. One day the great powers will become friends." Still, the peace that such an alliance implies may neither be long enough nor strong enough to ensure a peaceful world. No stranger to plagues, Nostradamus foresaw one, unlike any other, that would strike down much of the world in the last half of the last decade of the 20th century.
In fact, Nostradamus says that not only will 2/3 of the world be destroyed through this plague, he also says it will decimate the clergy of Mother Church.
But Nostradamus' unsettling visions for the 1990s only begin with a plague. He tells us that we will also witness the coming of the third Antichrist.
The third and final Antichrist is called by an enigmatic name, Mabus, M-A-B-U-S.
The information we have about the third Antichrist is that he was born on February the 4th, 1962, in Israel, in Jerusalem. But he is not a Jew, and he has been raised by an uncle who has put together a group of rich backers. These are the people who will finance his career in the taking over the world and the coming of the Third World War. But he will not make his appearance known until about 1995.
According to some interpretations, with his appearance will come great danger.
We will be plunged into a war of unspeakable horrors with atomic explosions, chemical warfare, biological warfare, laser warfare, weapons that we don't even think that could possibly exist. And this would climax to the point where the world would be starving to death, to the point that some countries would even turn to cannibalism.
But those who believe in these predictions say that even if we are able to either escape or defeat the third Antichrist, we can do neither with nature.
Nostradamus predicted 3 quatrains dealing with disasters for the United States before the 1990s were over.
It is believed Nostradamus foresaw boiling volcanoes, blistering winds, furious hurricanes, devastating earthquakes.
Nostradamus speaks of a great shifting of the globe over either 2 sudden jolts in a 6-month period or a slow roll, which will devastate and undermine entire civilizations. I believe, personally, that he is speaking of May of 2000, simply because it is a time of a grand conjunction of planets, a grand opposition of planets, which could pull gravitational forces to create such an earthquake in California.
Again, a warning for our time. Nostradamus writes, "In the year 1999 and 7 months, the great king of terror will come from the sky. He will resurrect Genghis Khan before and after war rules."
The Cold War has seen America and Russia become friends. This was predicted by Nostradamus, and it is a warning. It is the final warning before Armageddon. Russia and America's friendship will be undermined by a Middle Eastern, North African source. This will precipitate to a disastrous attack in the year 1999 in July.
My interpretation of the famous 1999 quatrain is a little different than the accepted one. Nostradamus saw that at the height of the Third World War, there would be a lot of experimental weaponry being used. And one of these was the horrible example of the cloning of armies, or the creation of war machines by the manipulation of the chromosomes to create a person who would be a murderer without any morals.
It is my opinion, after 20 years of traveling around the world and studying prophecies, that we make prophecy work by being so predictable. We repeat the past in the future. It is also a shared vision of most prophets that there's not much to say about future history after the year 2000.
Where did this power of Nostradamus originate? This vision into the future? Could it be divine? The answer may come from the mouths of children. For many who have claimed the power of prophecy, their gift is not a matter of birthright. Instead, its appearance has been linked to some life-altering event.
Fatima, Portugal, 1917. 3 children believed they were given a glimpse into the future. 9-year-old Lucia, 7-year-old Francisco, and 6-year-old Jacinta claimed visitation by a beautiful woman who entrusted them with secret messages, prophecies. They are to have come true. One message is still outstanding, and the Pope, John, in 1970, this sleepy little community, but the impact, and one of the few places
is a very strong recommendation to the You can still disagree if you want to, think that it probably was true. The children first reported this to their parents. He was radiant.
In Mary appear enslavement of nations. They also described what could have been. These dire predictions were greeted with suspicion. It was skeptical of minds who anxiously awaited the appointed day and hour.
The children were there, and this huge crowd was pressing in, and the rain was pouring down, and all of a sudden, the sun appeared. And then the crowd saw the sun begin to move and to dance in the sky, as it was described, and to fall down almost to the horizon.
The crowd was in absolute awe. There were many of the free thinkers from Spain and Portugal there who were very much against religion or anything of this nature, who immediately were convinced and fell on their knees and started repenting and asking for forgiveness for their lack of belief. It was an awesome experience, and it did show to the world that something valid had been happening at Fatima.
Despite the so-called miracle of the sun, there were still many questions as to the validity of the children's story. It would take time, but eventually even hardened disbelievers would come to rethink the events of 1917.
This is very important, to follow what happens to the children or to anyone who sees or claims to have seen the Blessed Virgin Mary. One of the best proofs of whether it was really she is whether their lives are fundamentally and forever changed. And it certainly happened with the Fatima children.
Early on, the children were told that 2 of them would die and would go to heaven, and the other one would remain for many years. Now, this has absolutely happened, and it happened right away. It's an epidemic which was going on. And this is hardly a thing that children could have foreseen or would have created for themselves.
In the case of the 3rd child, we have overwhelming evidence. She desired nothing but the religious life from the time that this happened. She has been in the cloistered Carmelite house at Coimbra since 1940. That she wants, that she welcomes a life of total devotion to God and to the Blessed Virgin.
"45 years later, Lucia still lives in a convent. With her remains the last message, or perhaps a final prophecy from Fatima. Whichever it is, Lucia has only shared it with one other person, Pope John Paul II. Some speculate that their shroud of silence covers some future catastrophe, but it's a secret that apparently will never be known. But perhaps the essence of that secret can be found elsewhere.
Garabandal, Spain. Another sleepy little town, another place to play host to reported supernatural events. The year was 1961, and the phenomena that happened here were eventually well recorded. But in the beginning, there was nothing but the words of worried children. 4 little girls, Conchita and Mary Cruz, were enjoying a day like any other. They had been stealing apples when a loud noise marked the beginning of a string of events that would reportedly last several years.
It was pretty foggy. It looked like the fog became high, like a very, white light. And I remember to hear a noise like a thunder. It was a big bump.
They became very frightened. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. And the oldest girl, Conchita, suddenly falls on her knees. Her head goes back. She's looking up toward the sky. Her complexion changes, and the other 3 girls, believing that she has become ill, get ready to run to call her mother. But they don't get very far because the exact same thing happens to them. When they are normal again, they head in the direction of the village, and the people, seeing them approach, say, "What is it? What's happened? Why do you have such white faces, such strange looks?" And all together, in one voice, they say, "The angel, the angel. We have seen the angel."
The children were accused, but many were still curious. And when the news spread, people swarmed to the village to await a sign that would give credibility to the angels.
It was with a crash. Times you could actually see their hands end up brush the dirt off their knees.
And mystified, Garabandal became phasing phenomena continued. This is Mary Loli supposedly levitating. More remarkable than in this state of ecstasy, 4 men could...
The girls running backwards, regardless of the day. They actually ran as though they had wings on their feet.
Community arrived.
They would burn a matchstick in front of their eye to see if they would flicker their eye. They stuck lights in their eye.
Keeps on repeating.
Thousands of ecstasies as the night of...
The people, they said, can't come for them, and they fell into ecstasy in the most terrible, except at a certain... And they're going to attempt to kill one. Advertisement is more terrible than we can possibly imagine because it changes our ways in life and we make our lives better. Then we can hold back the chastisement.
It's been more than 20 years now that...
To me, like, happened to somebody, I think anything.
Their time in Garabandal has long since passed, but the events there, the end they predicted, may be near. But they're not talking that information until days before the final moment.
The events at Garabandal and Fatima are both decidedly ways in which prophecy can be received, called the sleeping prophet. Those who claim beautiful women, the power to heal or pull these gifts, was an American named...
Casey may have been history's most documented psychic. He was a humble man whose powers were often a gift.
What to call Edgar Casey has always been a problem. Title of prophet that carries so much sense of importance and to be self-important.
Dad considered his ability as a gift from God wanted to do.
Born in rural Kentucky in 1870, showing remarkable qualities even as a boy.
When Edgar Casey was young, he had kind of an unusual ability. He told his mother that he would communicate with grandfather, and to him this was not unusual at all.
Edgar Casey did have a boyhood vision. He was off playing in the woods in a place that was his own private way and think about things. And he heard a voice.
Edgar. To the sky and saw...
Edgar. Well, help people? I want to help people.
That decision on Edgar Casey's part as a young boy set a tone for his life, that he was having a very difficult time with his spelling.
B.
Again, one way or another, you're going...
And it was the voice of this to him in the woods.
Sleep, and we shall help you.
And he lay down with his head on his spelling book.
Wake up. Let's try one more time. Spell cabin.
CABIN RAGONFLY ONY, page 48. It's like...
And to raise a family.
Hypnosis was a kind... And someone suggested, well, why not hypnosis? You've tried everything else.
Put in a deep hypnotic trance, restored his voice in what witnesses report to be an astonishing cure. Fatal tuberculosis.
In order to go about the work of helping other people. My wife got well. My son...
Had spread of his power him for help with their most baffling cases.
When Edgar Casey would give a reading with his wife, literally go into a listen. Receiving Casey was Littleson's address to where they lived, may have been hundreds of miles away.
We are on Staker, Story House, the kitchen. Something is burning. We are in an attic. Nice red pajamas. Now we have the body.
And identify.
We are inside. To the arteries, lungs, vein. Lesion is from the bite of a tiny bee. Apply oil of smoke for 2 weeks. Will save. Bancroft Pharmacy, Chicago. Back shelf. Top right.
Out of luck. Medicine company went bust.
So they did they would ask again about a situation, and the response, in essence, was, yes, they do too. Hounds found it where you said.
With Casey's methods. Several doctors inside the Met set out to prove him a fraud.
One of them said that they would prove that Edgar Casey was not in a trance, so they took a needle, poked it through his cheek, and took a scalpel and literally tore off his small fingernail. No response, again, from Casey, who woke up in absolute agony and vowed that he would never again try to prove anything to any professionals against psychic ability.
Written offers turned to Casey as their last hope.
The nerves that were governing the brain, they literally sent a dentist into the to make a bit of difference. Within several days, she wife, who was conducting the reading, to give him the suggestion.
Wake up.
Did we get it?
Maybe, but something's very queer. After inflammation of the spleen, pancreatitis...
Had been mysteriously cut short. The ill patient had died. While in a deep trance, how to heal, but awake.
Was very... than anything else.
Get away with anything. You couldn't lie to him or done, and pretty soon I didn't try.
Not only was Casey, he could also see a person's life force, an aura of life.
Idea what that wretched Fitzgerald woman across the street just said to me.
See a red aura all around you. Please come back when you're not quite so angry.
At one time saved his life. To step into an elevator and surrounding the bodies of people around him. It was a natural thing for him. He instantly knew he was. The cable on the elevator snapped. It was only killed.
Become the sleeping prophet.
On these centers, but a closing of the board.
Prophecy of the 19th or the discovery of land
of the comet.
He was able to,
including polar shifts.
There will be a shifting of the pole.
Change that would be big enough.
Coastline now.
Or somewhat.
Would this somebody can help her? What can you do, please?
Subject of study by scholars and scientists. Seeing into the future was not a skill to be learned. They're seemingly chosen. The gift of prophecy appears in all Americans, and sometimes this prophecy is translated through another person, if you like. One such American woman by the name of Mary Summer Rain, name of...
Not as a prophet, but rather as a messenger, and she was given a name, Summer Rain, by her mentor and guide. This was the woman known as No Eyes.
And to forecast what was going to happen. The greatest visionary of our time.
Mary was living with her husband in suburban Michigan. She had a prophetic dream that signaled her future.
I had a dream that at the end of my bed, and she had a message.
You're not who you think you are. Soon you move west.
I didn't know if it was really a dream, or I talked it over with my husband, Bill. Plans to move west. We did move to Colorado.
While in Colorado, Mary... But after hundreds of letters of rejection, she...
Last rejection back, I was very depressed, slipping out into the woods. I didn't know where. I walked over to a log, and I cried my eye. I had the chills go up my back, and I looked up in the pines.
Summer Rain, you come.
My God, it's you.
She led me up to her cabin and found for 2 years.
Some are going to hear about signs and sounds.
She taught me all the old ways. Eventually, it got into more visions, how to see into the future. I always had many ways of receiving visions. She'd natural ingredients, one by one, until images would appear in the rising smoke.
No ox. A bird that would rise from Mother Earth amidst terrible devastation.
When great phoenix come out of Earth Mother, her skin mad.
You mean earthquakes?
Great storms come. They cover all towns. Summer and all mix up.
Floods, earthquakes. Great Phoenix also warned No Eyes of upheaval.
Bodies hit the ground, and hippos moan in great sickness.
Why?
Countries gonna be angry with each other. New countries gonna make nuclear bombs too.
No Eyes, what is the Phoenix doing now?
He cry in great wail for people's future.
Mary Summer Rain believes that when No Eyes died, she left her with a very important mission.
Promise to write of our times together so that her wisdom and her message would not end with her.
Through the teachings of No Eyes, natural disasters to befall the earth. Others share the same. Among them a man from the northeast corner of America by the name of Gordon. Scallion claims that he sees a time when all life may perish.
In 98, the Earth becomes very quiet. The animals are quiet. From the east, it was hurricane velocity. The sun reversed its direction in the sky. The oceans themselves buckled, and land masses were thrust up. Can't even begin to add in the nights where I've just emotionally just totally lost it.
Scallion claims to live with a nightmare. Clismic earth change disaster by the year 2000. Gordon Michael Scallion didn't ask to become a prophet. In 1979, the gift of prophecy chose him.
Prior to 1979, I had absolutely no belief system in the field. My background was more scientific, more electronic. I was a communicant, and I lost my voice one day.
Field operations to corporate headquarters and management oversight. Thirdly, wideband ground. It looks like he's choking.
It was like someone went in and removed my larynx. I was with that day, thought I was having a stroke. That placed me for observation to see what was wrong. And that night, while in the hospital, a vision appeared and terrified me. The vision was a vision of a woman who seemed to float into the room and gave me some instructions, told me to write down what she was going to tell me. And I did. And what she told me was the beginning of prophecy as I've come to know them.
The next morning, Scallion says his voice mysteriously returned.
Good morning, Mr. Scallion. How are we feeling?
Better, thanks.
This says you can't speak.
I guess I'm okay. Wait a minute. There's something wrong with my eyes. It's like a weird glow or something.
Scallion was unaware he had just seen what he now believes to be his first aura.
I said, there's still something wrong with me. You better check my eyes now.
Okay, Mr. Scallion, put your...
And they gave me an eye exam there, and they said there's nothing. I began to do some conventional therapies, psychologists, MDs, and that continued. And I decided that if I stop work, and it did for about a month. One of the things that happened immediately thereafter is my vision became very distorted.
Supposedly read auras, look inside the body and detect disease. Soon, the sick and desperate began showing up at his door.
Gordon Michael Scallion?
Yes?
Chris, and I'm his mom.
I'm sorry.
And I've heard that...
Stop. I can't do it. Doctor, I can't help. Muscle's okay. That's why they don't know what it is. He's been poisoned. Heavy metals 2 years ago.
His world of science and logic had vanished into a foreign land, a land of auras which took him into deep trances. In these unconscious states, sometimes babbling about geological disasters. When he awoke, he remembered nothing, but he was always filled with a sense of impending doom.
When his wife, Cynthia, first witnessed her husband's deep trances, she didn't know what was happening. Recording his unconscious states, it was soon geological events.
When he did go into a deep trance, his body would manifest. His body would go into almost a slump, and then he would...
7.4, early February, a fault running east to a forerunner of 8.1 Richter upward plate.
Go and take a nap after I have one of these. That when I'm at my word processions.
Scallion claims as simultaneous tornadoes that in the years leading up.
And I'm given the warning signs of what the sequence would be. The kind I see are the actual collapse and panic, the actual people in communities. I see car symbols on the side.
If even a percentage of his Scallion decided he could still help save lives. In 1991, he began publishing his prophecies of future disasters in the Earth Changes Report.
The newsletter is a way with the public some of the prophecies that Gordon sees for the future in the United States and the rest of the world.
When Hurricane Andrew occurred, a year ahead of time, I warned about it. And then even a month before, I knew the direction it would come, the wind velocity, where it would land. And I warned as many people. Since 91, when I began publishing the Earth Changes Report, that were significant were that first that LA with earthquakes on April of 92, right? The floods in the Midwest and the Mississippi, eruptions of Mount Pinatubo.
Scallion and his wife transformed their home into the Matrix Institute, a 24-hour hotline access to Scallion's prophecies occurring or predicted to occur within any given month.
I created a map of the future United States. This was a map that was a consolidation of the visions that I was receiving, and it represented what the United States would look like in 2001. So the new way in the area of Nebraska, down through Boulder and Denver, through this area is the new West Coast. And California has become a series of islands. Here, the Mississippi has expanded, the Great Lakes have merged. Good portions of New Jersey go underwater. Some of the changes occur abruptly, some of the changes give us warning signs. The worst places is wherever you are when something like this explodes.
What he once considered a burden, Scallion now calls. Gordon Michael Scallion believes his prophecies will help mankind prepare for the future.
Reasons. One is it's given to help us prepare, or it helps us to change what the outcome would be. Life could be significant unless we heed the warnings.
Warning signs of prophetic voices have predicted worldwide up future. But a few have taken action to ensure their survival. Montana, Big Sky country, land of cattle ranches in Yellowstone National Park, and home to 3,000 people prepared for global apocalypse. For the members of Church Universal and Triumphant, Royal Teton Ranch, Montana, is a physical and spiritual home. There they practice their New Age Christian faith and find refuge from the outside world. The church is led by Elizabeth Clare Prophet, teacher, author, and to her followers, divine messenger. Her gift of prophecy foretells a dark future.
It's a period of our lives. We see this in disturbances in the elements. The upheavals of tornado, of flood, tremendous storms, the Mississippi, the Missouri, sudden deaths. We see it in the last plagues. We see it in cancer and AIDS, in all kinds of incurable diseases. These are coming upon us.
Determined to survive, Prophet's injunction to construct dozens of bomb shelters beneath the rolling country.
Their main shelter complex is the largest fallout shelter in this country. They have everything in there that they feel to reestablish themselves on the earth after a major apocalypse has destroyed everything.
The bunkers range from family size, designed to house 600 staff members. Each is stocked with everything from water wells and septic systems to shortwave radio and games.
You must be difficulty can arise in which all of a sudden you may find that you don't have access to a store, so you can't get food. You don't have access to water. And we all need water and food to live.
Disruption of the civil order. In other words, the trucking breaks down, shipping breaks down. A lot of people are just simply not going to have food.
The rise and fall of...
I awakened at 3 and 4 in the morning, the day that it points. I saw all that ahead of time.
Children are yet carefree, and let that place be called the Royal Teton Ranch.
Clare Prophet is an authentic spiritual leader. The people I've met in Church Universal and Triumphant were either very people to begin with or else following those teachings and following that path.
The church is a highly diverse community with a shared belief in self-reliance. It has much of its own food. It runs its own school system. And the favored entertainment comes from a musical group comprised entirely of church members, the Paradise Players. The community also believe Asian, and that means preparing for the worst.
We're sure that we have hospitalization insurance, accident, theft, and all these other things. And yet, when we look at the plan, if you really look around, you'll see that there's war all over the place.
That if someone ever pushes the button, but if there's a killed, the problem that I see is that many more people, and that to me that's a great tragedy.
From dying. So to me, shelters are the way to do eventuality of earth changes. Major changes may be coming upon this planet. And one day, the only place to be safe, we shouldn't plan on dying. We should accept life and know that we have to pass on our culture to posterity. So I have on every continent, and they have centers, they have shelters. I have placed the repository of the entire body of our teachings on and in many nations on microfiche. 500 years from now or 1,000 years from now, when technology is back on its legs, we will find that these groups of people all over the world have evolved and developed and maintained what nation by the end of the 20th century.
Elizabeth Clare Prophet and her relatively small group of followers have planned for a destiny that they believe is inevitable. But centuries ago, a book was written that is said to foretell of a similar fate. There is an ancient document which warns us that perilous times shall come. The Bible also speaks of healing, miracles, and resurrection. But Revelation, the final chapter of the New Testament, suggests that the biblical predictions of the apocalypse, the return of Christ, and the battle of Armageddon may all come to pass. And they were cast upon the earth. Trees were burnt up, and all green grass was burnt. And as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. A haunt 2,000 years. This ancient document is a fascinating source of prophecy to our time, and is the apocalypse, or in other words, the end of time. Dr. Charles Strozier believes the signs are all around us of apocalypse on the psychology.
Revelation is a highly symbolic book. So I would call it a myth formation that moves through is the regenerative mode. People have to be changed, cleansed. Human history has to be cleansed and ended. This new creation, this new recreation.
Created, the so-called end time, a torture and tribulation, the conclusion of God's time, the Antichrist.
Image of Antichrist is a very important part of the end time process. He feels himself as a messenger of peace. And it's a false peace that lulls the nations to sleep. The psychological message is beware the peacemaker. It indicates in the minds of a quarter of the population a deep move toward peace. That matters in a democracy.
The Bible is said to predict that the 10 nations will unite under his leadership. Interpret this as the nations of the European common mind.
The idea, though, is that Antichrist is crucial to that unfolding for history to last.
Revelation tells us the Antichrist will force his followers associated with the number 666. Some by marks will separate the faithful from the damned. The Reverend this way.
There's no question that the Bible lies in satanic worship at the end of time. The lies that we are under the Antichrist. During his last, Christ becomes Hitler tried to do what Hitler tried to do.
The Bible warns us of deadly. There shall be signs in the moon. Reverend.
There will be an earthquake and destroy than any earthquake.
We know it. Some Christians believe Antichrist can be saved through the miracle of the rapture.
The Bible and things, we see things in the news.
Battle called Armageddon, completely destroyed. It will take 7 months to bury the dead after the apocalyptic clear battle of Armageddon in the heart of the Mideast.
Not to imagine at some time those in existence. And that's what's new. It makes a difference that it is a prophecies say it's all about thing we can have is faith and commitment to grab some meaning for our lives. In the end, it'll all be destroyed.
The Bible's prophecies have long been scholars and religious leaders kind. But beyond the predictions of the printed word, what actual occurrences point to such calamities? The answers can be found all around us. We're approaching the end of the millennium, and the year 2000 is the termination of life on Earth. Why have they chosen this moment in time? Are there current signs that the apocalypse may soon be upon us? It is a unique period in the history of the world. We have reached a time where population growth of the planet's natural resources are producing profound environmental with catastrophic consequences. Earthquakes occur with greater frequency and more depth. How can these increasingly...
We are loading packs which...
Extreme weather as a part of the... not only affect the weather, they greatly impact health. The effect of the depletion of the ozone. Harry society.
In Australia alone, there are skin cancers, cases of skin cancer every year. 2 years ago, were children with clothing when they go to school. It's very, very serious.
And virologist Dr. Stephen Morse is caused by previously unknown viruses in forests.
Down the forest and plant things that were formerly buried in the underbrush. This is happening at an unprecedented scale all over the world as we see deforestation and environmental change happening.
Nostradamus has been interpreted as warning of a horrifying pestilence accompanying the apocalypse. When viruses are studied in laboratories, they are classified in 4 levels. 4 being a virus that travels through the air. These airborne viruses are the easiest to transmit and the most deadly. While the impact of AIDS on the global population cannot be understated, the AIDS is a level 2 virus because its transmission is believed considered much more difficult to catch. Medical scientists are growing increasingly alarmed at the proliferation of level 4 viruses. The most deadly of such viruses is the Ebola.
Ebola is a virus that appeared suddenly, and the disease was sudden and dramatic. It causes with rash, bleeding, off shock. We call it a hemorrhagic fever, to the leakiness of blood vessels. And people eventually, in many cases, will die of shock just because those leak and they bleed internally. To catch it means an 80% chance.
All levels and types studied at the United States Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases in Maryland, which sprang up seemingly. This virus continues to claim people's lives. Ling is a scientific advisor at the facility.
The virus is transmitted to man via the aerosol route. The virus is a field mouse, and that is through inhalation, droplets, and excrete a contaminated material that humans become involved.
So the conditions for epidemics increasing worldwide and will continue to increase for the foreseeable future.
Almost all of the prophets, ancient and modern, seem to foretell of the apocalypse as a fire in the sky, all-out war. The United States and former Soviet Union are at peace. Nuclear war remains potent. Iran, Pakistan, and North Korea are rumored to possess the chance of a nuclear weapon.
Nuclear weapons is producing the plutonium, which is what starts the explosion, whether it's A bomb or an H bomb. More than 30 countries in the world in which automatically they have plutonium.
But governments are weapons. A great fear is that these bombs are in the hands of terrorists, cheap and available. Some may even be obtainable through the Russian black market. How to assemble the bomb is information that has been published and can be obtained easily to fit into a suitcase, making concealment no problem. If the World Trade Center had been bombed with a nuclear...
Humanity is at its most critical stage ever. We have a lot of decisions that will determine in what directions things proceed that carry with them the prospects for the worst of the prophecies, in some sense, coming true.
The Egyptians described the end of time as a bottomless pit at the base of the Great Pyramid. St. Malachi and Nostradamus envisioned cataclysmic devastation. Fatima and Garibaldi were warned about a final punishment. Edgar Casey, No Eyes, and Gordon Michael Scallion were flooded with visions of global natural disasters. And Elizabeth Clare Prophet and her group prepare for a nuclear holocaust the Bible describes as Armageddon. Do all the stories we've heard point to a natural end? No one knows for certain. But in the 19th century, Charles Dickens wrote, "Men's courses will foreshadow certain ends, but if these courses be departed from, the ends will change." In such wisdom lies the real truth of prophecy. But whatever our futures, the power to change it rests firmly in our own hands.
Count on us, sir.
No, I can't. You're useless, low-life shitheads. If there's so much as a coffin handle missing in the morning, you are fired.
Son of a bitch, who do you think you're talking to? Put his stupid ass on a slab.
Richard, please try to remember.
We need this job. Okay, Charlie, don't you have any ambition? What we need, my friend, is a break.
When we get to eat. Hey. Hey! Jesus Christ. Hey, where you going? Where are you going? You're under arrest. You're not the police. No, but we can darn sure hold you to the real police get here.
Let's go, old man.
I can't believe this. We caught a body snatcher.
Shut up.
How much do you boys make?
Excuse me?
How much?
Not enough.
That's what I thought! Now, I will pay you $500 if you will help me steal this corpse!
$500 each.
You know, I thought we were going to a hospital or something.
Yeah, right, Charlie.
Hey, he said he was a surgeon, didn't he?
Well, the man obviously works out of the home.
I'm not allowed in hospitals anymore.
Oh, boy. Which way?
Oh, here. The wine cellar.
Good, I could use a drink. Geez, Doc, what stinks?
Oh, never mind that now. Here we are.
Come on, let's go, let's go. Oh.
So, just what are you going to do to her, Doc?
Well, that, my boy, is beyond your imagination. Oh, there's nothing perverted about it, if that's what you're worried about. I'm searching for her soul.
Oh, shit. Dude, he didn't do nothing yet.
Man, oh man, I'm convinced that the soul exists in a microscopic gland that's located somewhere along the spine. It is the last thing to die, releasing the life force days after conventional death.
What does the gland look like?
I haven't seen it yet. I've dissected dozens of corpses, and like some elusive prey, it vanishes. just when I think I have it in my sights.
When you find it, what are you going to do with it?
Oh, not that much. Just play God.
Oh, I feel sick. Well, get over it, man, because this shit is amazing.
If I can locate the soul, I can unlock the deepest secrets of the human condition. Why is one man a saint and another a monster? And can I change a monster into a saint by manipulating his essential metaphysical substance?
That's trippy, Doc. Is that it there?
No! No. It will be incandescent. Perhaps only a pinpoint of light. Even a skilled surgeon would miss it unless he believed it was there. Can it be that ethereal? Can it stick and move with a will of its own? Will it elude me forever?
Oh, God. Oh, dear God.
So, the search continues. You still want that drink?
Sure.
Got some work for you here. Give me another $500.
Oh.
Well, normally I could dispose of them when it suits me, but, this freezer's been acting up. It's 40 years old.
Well, this is going to cost you a hell of a lot more than $500.
Oh. All right, Richard, how much?
Well, a lot more. Well, 600.
Ha! Done. All right. There's an old well not far from here. It's ideal for disposing of things.
Okay. Come on, we're gonna need some tarp and some rope. Come on, come on.
He's trying to steal their souls. How can the dead rest if they don't have their souls?
Are you kidding me? Dude, Dr. Orloff's got an excuse for talking that shit. He's nuts. You're seriously stupid, but the last time I checked, you were sane.
Do you believe in souls, Richard? Don't you believe in anything?
Yeah, I believe I got $1,000 right here, baby. Mwah! More money I've ever seen in my life.
They're going to be lost forever. No way home.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, that's plenty deep. Charlie, hoist up one of them suckers. I'll be right there. Charlie. 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 Hoist.
We are working here. Okay? Freak out on your own time. Jesus. You know, I still don't feel good about this.
Yeah, well, I do, Charlie. Just gotta keep our story straight, okay? We got a little drunk, we fell asleep. Which is exactly what that prick would expect us to do anyway. We are off the hook, baby. Yes, we are. Off the hook. Yes, we are.
God damn it, get up, you idiots! Get up! Where is she?
Who?
Mrs. Myers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sir, I don't know. We were patrolling the halls all night.
You're lying.
No, sir.
What's this? Drunk. You're drunk, and I'm going to lose a 40-year business because of it. You're fired. Get out of here now.
We're fired,
You're fired.
Fine, we're fired. You know what? We didn't want your shit job anyway.
How'd you get that mud on your boots? How'd you get that tear in your jeans?
Charlie, let's go.
What have you two been up to?
Charlie, let's go.
You took her, didn't you? I'm going to the police. You stay right here. I'm going to the police.
Damn. Sir. Sir, I just want to explain one thing, okay? 1 second. Sir, could you stop running, please, sir? Sir, please don't go for the cops, sir. Can I just say one thing? Sir, please. Hello? Sir. Oh, sir. 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 Get off me, Saint. Get off me. You are killing him. I think I'm trying to do it. Sir. Listen. Do you want to go to jail for murder? Huh? Is that what you want? Oh, thank God. He's still alive. Okay, all right, look. Let's get him to Dr. Orloff, okay? All right? Yeah. He can take care of him. Yeah, Dr. Orloff take care of him real good. This wasn't very smart of you, Richard. You know what, Doc? I really don't need another lecture right now. I don't suppose you do. All right, you two wait in the hallway. I'll have more work for you. Yes, sir. I can't do this, Richard. I quit. What, security watchman? I think we already handed in our resignation. You know good and well what I'm talking about. I'm talking about working for that doctor. Why? Why would you want to quit? We got a good thing going. Well, it's wrong. It's wrong? Yeah, it's wrong. Charlie, we're carting around dead people. I don't think they care. Their souls care, Richard. Oh, God, would you please change the tape? Look, bud, I'm real sorry if you're having problems with our career move, but you'll quit when I tell you you can quit. Okay? Boys! Come in here, hurry!
All my years of searching, and I finally found it. The soul gland. The moment I went to extract it, it disappeared.
Then this shit heal up and dies on you, huh? Well, that's just plain rude.
I don't fully understand why I found it now. But I did.
Oh, I know why you found it. He was alive when you started to cut him up. You thought that you could get the soul gland out of dead people. But by then, it's already disappeared. See, souls don't just hang around. No, you were wrong about that. They go on to their just reward. That is, unless you steal them.
Of course. You're absolutely right, Charlie. Positively brilliant.
You know, you shouldn't steal souls, Doctor.
It's all in the name of science, Charlie.
You know, Doc, I think Charlie's right. I mean, about being wrong, doing what we're doing here. Charlie, it's all right. Let's go way down in the truck. I want to try to explain to him what I mean. Go ahead. I'll be right there. We got a Charlie problem here, Doc.
Well, he's simple-minded and good-hearted, and that is a dangerous combination.
Yeah, well, it's gonna get us busted.
Just to ease his conscience, he must have a vigorous soul.
You want to find out? Yeah, I thought you might like that idea. I tell you, this is a pretty interesting gig you got here, Doc. How long do you have to go to school before you can start, cutting things up and stuff?
Career planning.
Maybe. Told you I was ambitious. They are.
Okay. All right. That's it. I'm finished. Charlie. Dude, listen. I'm real sorry I went off on you like that before. Anyway, you want to quit working for Dr. Orloff, you go right ahead and quit. I've already quit. You want a drink? Have a drink. That's not all I'm going to do. I'm going to the cops. I'm going to turn myself in. There is no way I'm going to live with this on my conscience. Charlie. I knew you were going to do something stupid like that. That's why you're drinking ether. Whew. Still alive. Just like you wanted. You gonna cut him up?
Just a usual incision. Oh, don't be so disappointed. Once I remove the gland, you can cut to your heart's content. Extraordinary. The better the soul, the stronger the light. I must preserve this immediately.
Doc?
You do what you want. You're my assistant now.
Here we go, Charlie. Now you get to hang out with all those lost souls you were worried about.
Oh, Richard.
Hey. Hey, Doc. Champagne's on me. Guess what we're celebrating?
What are we celebrating?
My new pay raise.
Oh, Richard. You're not getting a raise.
Oh, yes, I am. All the deliveries I've been making, all the souls you've been collecting, and I've been so quiet about it. So far.
Very unappreciated right now, Doc. Loser. Yeah.
What?
You told me you're gonna kill me, and then you're gonna get appreciation. Yeah.
What the hell was that?
done with my soul? Pull back the skin and cut through to the muscle. Right, Doctor? Darlie, no! Darlie, what are you doing, man? Come on! Not much. I'm just going to play God. I'm gonna steal your soul, Richard. Oh, no! Darlie, come on! You don't want to hurt me. Come on, you're good. On the contrary, Richard. I was good. You stole my soul. Remember? Darlie, no! Darlie, no!
That Charlie. And you thought he was mixed up before. As a matter of fact, I just got a card from Charlie. He went on to open a chain of private clubs for dismembers only. Oh, and Richard went into medicine, specializing in intensive scare. So, I've got a free chair. How about a little trim? I promise I won't take off too much. Shave and a haircut, 2 bits.
Próxima atração na HBO. Estranhos rituais atormentando a vida de uma pequena cidade. De Stephen King, Colheita Maldita 3. Próxima atração na HBO.
Tonight's moving violation concerns a disc jockey who's so cutting edge, he may lose his tap. I call it In the Groove.
Just give me a try. If it doesn't work, I'll walk away.
Walk away now. By all her success, my mother, this is greedy, hateful, wretched, all symbol of death. I hope you're in hell, mother. That's what you make my life.
Estreia sábado, 21 de outubro, 15 para meia-noite.
In my philosophy, Mr. Danner, a man cannot call himself well-contented until he has done all he can to be of service to his employer.
I have no family. I'm a coward. All I see out in the world is loneliness, and it frightens me.
I'd be lost without her.
Anthony Hopkins.
You're extremely important to this house, Miss Kenton.
Emma Thompson.
I'm frightened of leaving, and that's the truth.
Num filme dirigido por James Ivory, indicado para 8 Oscars.
Sentimental over.
Vestígios do Dia. Estreia sábado, 21 de outubro, às 8:30 da noite. Elizabeth Taylor.
Nobody's young anymore.
Mark Herman.
Princess, the great difference in this world is not between the winners and the losers, or the rich and the poor, but between those who have pleasure in love and the ones that don't, the ones who just watch it with envy.
Numa refilmagem de grande clássico do cinema.
Nothing ever comes after anyone's life.
Doce Pássaro da Juventude. Baseado na peça de Tennessee Williams.
When monster meets monster, one of them has to give way. And it'll never be me.
Estreia na HBO.
$200 to start.
You mean I'm hired?
Sons of bitches go out at night and steal motors off the well. That shuts me right down.
You believe in fate?
What do you mean?
What are you looking at? Nothing.
You don't even look at her, you hear me?
You marry me? Mr. Allen, there's too many bumps to miss this one anyway. Come on, let's pack it up before the sheriff comes around.
I wanted to see.
See what?
If it was true.
You want the truth? Is that what you want?
Crimes de paixão, fugindo do medo. Estreia na HBO. Entertainment News Especial abre as portas para os bastidores de uma época nobre, de gestos contidos e amores inconfessos.
He closed his eyes to reality, I suppose. He sat on the fence.
Anthony Hopkins, Emma Thompson, dois gigantes do teatro inglês.
Scenes were so powerful, emotionally powerful, and people on the set would cry, you know.
Reunidos numa história indicada para 8 Oscars.
No, but it's always expressed in terms of dust and sweeping and where things ought to be. And...
Vestígios do dia. No Entertainment News Especial. Sábado, 21 de outubro, 8 da noite. Próxima atração na HBO. Estranhos rituais atormentando a vida de uma pequena cidade. De Stephen King, Colheita Maldita 3. Próxima atração na HBO.
Joshua!
Boy, you're gonna make this some sad night. Gonna get you.
Eli? He's getting close. He's drunk again, isn't he? He's gonna beat me again. Not if I can help it. Oh, go! Well, I ain't gonna leave you. You know I'm the only one who can handle it. All right, but you better be right behind me. Okay. Why, Papa? Why'd you have to go hurt my brother? Family is sacred, Papa. You know I'd never hurt you. Not even for this.
You took it.
Eli! You said you're gonna be right behind me. Where is he? Come on, let's go, all right? He can do what he wants to me, but I ain't gonna let him hurt you, okay?
We just gotta stay together, right?
Right, come on, let's go.
These boys are being placed in your foster care until the adoption becomes final. They've had it rough, so be prepared. It may take a while for them to get used to their new surroundings.
Those boys have never seen this.
Never seen a city.
I know you know. And you're nervous, but just listen to me, okay? Because that's the only way you're going to handle it.
Wait. That's them.
Okay, I'll get them now. You just try and stay calm.
You look beautiful. Thank you. And you're much too young to have a teenage son.
William and Amanda, meet your new boy. Hi, Eli. Josh.
Welcome to Chicago.
I'm really glad you're here.
Well, this is it.
Home sweet home.
Ready?
Whoa, this is great. It's a little bigger than our trailer, huh, Eli? You have a lot of nice things, Mrs. Porter.
Let's go upstairs. I'll show you your room.
All right.
We got kids in the house. And this is our room. So if you need anything, we're just a few steps down the hall. All we ask is that you knock before you come in. Josh, please, put that down. It's very, very expensive.
You have a very nice house, Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Eli.
This is your house now, too, Eli, so you do not have to call us Mr. and Mrs. Porter, okay?
Josh, I told you not to pick this up.
Bill, it's just a piece of glass, okay?
Come on, let's all leave. Come on.
We've got a brand new Japanese invention here. We call it pizza.
Thank you, John. Sit down. All right. You want me to help you cut it?
Oh, for God's sake, Amanda, you don't cut pizza. You just pick it up, you fold it, and you jam it in.
Grace?
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like to do the honors?
Let us give thanks to he who walks behind the rows, who protects our crops, and keeps the infidel and unbeliever in the torments of hellfire eternal. Amen.
Amen. Well, that's a real toe tapper.
Pizza?
Come on out here. I'll show you guys your new backyard. This is Amanda's Garden of Eden. She's got quite a green thumb, actually.
The lady, the social worker, she said you grew corn.
You did? No corn. Oh, I know. I sell corn. I'm a commodities trader on the exchange.
What's on the other side?
Oh, that's just an old abandoned factory, but it's not really safe. That's why we built this fence in front of the wall. But I don't want you and Joshua playing over there. Where is your brother?
Hi. I just moved in next door.
What's with the, clothes? Is that the new, Amish wear?
What's with your hat? Why is it turned backwards?
Joshua? Could you come home, please?
Thanks.
You can't just walk up to strangers and start a conversation.
William! Tell me, I opened up the suitcase and there's bugs in there.
What?
Open
it up.
Bugs, Amanda?
Just thought I'd bring a taste of home.
That's nice looking corn.
I'm more comfortable. We're not exactly alone anymore, you know?
Well, then we'll just have to get used to it.
You think?
Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. We'll get the hang of this. Besides, Eli is a gem. And Joshua, well, he'll probably need a little disciplining. But then again, so will you. You're not going to do this until we go out and take one last look at those kids, are you?
Yeah, no.
They probably slept in the same bed their whole lives. We'll leave them be for now.
What I was saying is, I screwed it up already. I mean, first he got mad at me for breaking his class thing, then for talking to strangers.
At least we got each other. Good night.
on, David. We both know I deserve the promotion. Besides, I got 2 more mouths to feed.
Is that why you decided to adopt?
Seriously, I mean, who closed the Agritech deal? Who sold the surplus corn in Iowa that nobody wanted? I did. That deserves some recognition here, David.
William, too damn impatient. It'll get you in trouble someday. Now, relax, enjoy your new family. Market's not going anywhere.
Well, the market might not be going anywhere, but I am. Remember it.
I'll think about it.
Yeah, these fit fine. What do you think? How about this? Oh, yeah, I like this on you. It's a good color. How about I get a scissors? I'm going to cut the tag off, okay?
Well?
Eli, you left your suit. I take it your voice didn't like the clothes I bought you.
No offense, ma'am, but modest dress is the surest way to a pious life. I mean, I'm sure not every kid at school can afford that kind of clothing. Why should we make them feel inadequate?
Okay. Excuse me, can you tell me where I can find the principal's office?
Sure, it's just down the hall on the left, second door.
Thank you very much. This way.
Mrs. Porter.
Amanda Porter.
I'm Father Frank Nolan.
Yes.
Principal here.
Nice to meet you.
These must be your boys.
That's right.
Joshua?
Close. Eli.
Joshua. Like the shirt. I'll show you to your homerooms. This way,
Thank
please. Good morning, class. All right. Joshua, you'll be here, room 101. It's mine, by the way. And Eli, let's see, 112.
You're splitting us up?
Well, you are both in different grades.
Father, back where Eli and me come from...
Joshua, I know that you and Eli are used to being together. You see?
No!
Father, can I see you?
Of course.
We'll be right outside.
Excuse us. Take good care of him. Hi.
Hello there to you.
I wouldn't sit there.
Why not?
Because I think you're going to try to suck my dick. You got cow shit in your ears, boy?
Hey, I'm talking.
Hey! You want to touch this, huh?
Oh, Tila, you're just so bad. What are you gonna do? Cut an Amish kid?
Yeah, well, I'll cut you then, bitch.
What are you calling that bitch, punk? That's my sister. I'll kick your ass you talk about my sister like that.
I said, what? Come on, what?
Hey, back off.
What's up, man? I'm gonna bring it on.
No one's coming back.
Eli, sorry. You'll be able to see each other at recess.
up for?
It's what you're supposed to do.
When a lady's president? Jesus, you are from out of town. You waiting for your brother? Look, what you did this morning, it was cool, but really stupid. Don't start up with Kilo.
He shouldn't start with Eli.
You play? Hey, Mommy Head!
What?
Why don't you put the Amish kid in?
What for?
Because I said.
No, man. He can't play.
Let him play, man.
Can't stop.
Hey, man. You got game?
Little.
All right.
Off the ball from your sister like my name's Elijah Wall. Get back at that Gamoa and I'm cutting up your lawn. You need the parlay kid and run the other way. I don't play. I'm making moves like 10 in a harder way. I'm above the rim, so time will be
That's a little.
like Mason Street. Your face is dropped in that base in the hole.
We do handshakes out here when you do things good, all right? Ready, quick. Bam, bam, bam. Not too hard, not too hard. Good job, man.
Nice shot. That was beautiful. Good pass there. I'm sorry, man. I gotta go. Huh?
First you leave me, then you start playing their game.
I was just having fun. It's not like I had a choice about leaving you anyway.
You always said we'd stay together no matter what.
You know we will.
Then don't play their game. Please. The wilderness shall be glad, and the desert shall bloom. For he who walks behind the rows and all of his children. We are the selected. We will flourish on the land, in the homes, in the hallways and classrooms, the playgrounds, until the unbelievers feel our wrath, our fury as we triumph over them, scorching the earth from within. We are the seed, and now our time to grow. For if the infidel and unbeliever shall pass over it, they shall be consumed.
Bless my heart!
What's going on? refusing to listen to me.
I am not going to argue about a corn patch. Has it ever
I
occurred
want
to
you
you
to
that
cut it
Eli...
down. If you don't cut it down, I will.
Amanda, for God's sakes, it's his hobby.
This is crazy. All right. I will look at it. Hello? Hello?
Got you, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Come to harvest?
Well, no, but my God, the look of it, I could.
Yeah. Want to try some?
Well, sure. Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Eli, where did you get this?
My papa. God rest his soul. He developed the strain. Guess you could say I sort of helped. These were his only samples. Brought them back from Daphne to see if they'd grow here.
Well, they grow all right. My God. I mean, it's not even planting season. I mean, this is horrible soil. There's no blemishes, no bugs. Eli, you grew this in only 4 weeks? Do you have any idea how much a strain like this could be worth?
Well, like my pa always said, you reap what you sow. Smells good. Bye now.
Ah, okay.
Hey, how come your brother never joined us?
Excuse me, yes?
What'd you say that for?
Hey, Eli. Why don't you come join us?
Why don't you join me? Or would you rather leave with that?
That, Eli, is a friend. All right, it wouldn't hurt you to make a couple, you know?
Maybe I will.